What's good, YouTube? Antiyami here, back with another video. And in today's video, I have a little cool deck profile for you guys. I know some people have been asking me to do a Fiendsmith list deck profile, so I'm gonna go ahead and go into that as quickly as possible. I'm not gonna waste too much of your time, and my camera just tilted. Give me a second. Okay, guess that's fine. So anyway, let's go ahead and hop into this real quick. Again, if you guys enjoying the comment content, you let me know down below in the in the comments, and make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe to the video, because we're gonna be making more updates in videos and combos and things of that nature for White Forest, because I love this deck for some reason. This deck is it's amazing. I try other decks like Malice and Ryzios, and they just don't feel as cool, you know what I'm saying? So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. We're gonna start with the main deck. Of course, we're gonna start with the hand traps, or non-engine. Of course, we're still playing the triple Ash Blossom, triple Droll, triple Veiler, triple Amperm, one Talent, double Thrust, and one Call by the Grave, rounding up with 16 of the non-engine. So the whole point of the Fiendsmith engine is to beat Droll as much as possible, since it's becoming a little bit more popular. And that was the problem with kind of like the pure version of this deck, is that it kind of falls susceptible to Droll sometimes. But you play cards like Talents and the Thrust to help you set up kind of like a counterplay to it a little bit. This gives you more interruption, and this also allows you to look at your opponent's hand and make decisions, and this actually just straight up beats the Droll. So I find these cards very impactful in that department. So what I've been noticing, what I've been trying to do with this deck in particular, is that I'm trying to make it more like a mid-range, not as a combo deck. I think I felt susceptible of just making this deck like 50 interruptions or a ton of like, interactions, or FTKing my opponent. Sometimes you just want to put up enough and grind and make this deck more of a mid-range, so you can have follow-up and just tons of like interaction points and stuff like that, layer interruptions and stuff. So it's been having a lot of success based off of just grinding and pushing and just really cool interactions. So that's the idea for this deck. Next, we're gonna start with Azamina Azet, the Stellar, one Ursia, a triple Azet, the triple Sylvie for the White Forest monsters. The reason why she's back in this deck, because obviously you need more names, because this is more of a pure variation, so she does come up. But the thing is that you want to search this out of your deck and then put it in the graveyard for future plays and stuff like that. Sometimes there's a line where you can like do your standard play, you search her and Deception, usually off the Arciella the Arciella and the Azamina, and then you attribute this off of Deception, and then you bring it back later on. And there's lines for that. There's other lines that you can do to kind of keep that card floating, but that being an extra body is really insane, and it does really well with some inboards with this card. So we'll talk about that more in the future. I'll make like a test hand and like combo guide on some of these combos and stuff like that, because it's a little bit different than the Fiendsmith variation, because you just don't link into two and then go into like Desiree and stuff. To round out the monsters, of course, we play the Dillabella package here, so one of each. Nothing need to be said about that package. For the spells, you play triple Defil spell. Card's broken. Really strong. There are some lines that you do when you're Dark Lock, and there's some lines where you do when you don't Dark Lock, and you can Dark Lock after you do everything, but it's really good. Triple Wanted standard. One Civil Spoils of the White Forest. This card is really interesting in this deck because it does a little bit more than you think it does. So I'll talk about this in a different video and how we can utilize this card, because this card actually comes up a lot more. I actually activate this card more in this version than I do in the Fiendsmith version. One Tails, and of course one Phyllis, one Hollow Azamina, and 1 Deception. I feel like there's nothing that need to be said about that. I feel like all that is pretty standard. And then, oh yeah, the juicy part of the deck, the trap cards. So this is where it becomes more of a mid-range type of deck. Now, I'm playing all these trap cards because, again, I want to like have this deck more like a low floor. I don't want to commit too much and not have as many interruptions. And again, I'll talk about how these cards come into play in a different video. Woes is amazing in the pure version because like there's so many different ways you can actually synchro into your White Forest monsters and have like a ton of advantage off of it. It's a really good card. Of course, Curse searches your Phyllis. This card is just really good. Even you can dump this with the Witches of the White Forest or Dillabells of the White Forest as like a single interruption. If you don't want to go for this, like if you get stuck underneath draw, you can do White Forest, send this, and then this just resets itself for like a Book of Moon. So that's what I mean by like low to the ground. So there's like avenues where you can still set up like some decent interruptions underneath certain hand traps and stuff. Woes is just really, really good. And I'm playing Silhouette Trick. I played this in Snake Eyes. I don't know if you guys ever saw some of my Snake Eye videos when I were topping with this, but I actually like this card because it does play underneath Shifter, which is really, really good. You can argue that Statue is a little bit better because I feel like you can beat a lot of the Raziel special summons, especially like Detonator and Dual Drive. So I feel like this is preference. I still gonna play with this card because I like it, and the fact that it is an illusion does come up with this card. And again, we'll talk about that in a different video. But yeah, like I said, lots of really cool like infinite tricks that you can do, and obviously we're playing Rapid because we're playing that card, so very cool, very cool. Let's go ahead and start with the extra. Starting with the fusions, we have Sylvia, Saint Azamina. She makes a grand return. Azamina, Regina, and then of course we got the Arcielago. I feel like this is pretty standard for the most part if you're playing Azamina. A lot of people will probably like cut these two and then play these two, but in pure, I just like playing the bigger Azamina package. I think it's really, really clean. Going into the synchros, you play Sylvia. Is this Sylvia or is it Silvera? I actually just never read the name of this card. It's Silvera, because obviously dark and light. So Silvera, Arcia level 6, Dillabells, and Chaos Angel. And then of course the two new monsters. These cards are very phenomenal, help you out some problematic monsters and stuff like that. So it's very, very strong. This card obviously just gets a lot better in this deck too, and you can actually hard make this card too now because you play enough level 2s, so you can actually use the fill spell, turn one of your level 2s into a tuner, and then make this. So I don't know if they ever come up like that, like beneficially, but you can make it. For the XYZs, I played the one Typhon. This card comes up a lot. Even though you do play a fill spell that darks like you, a lot of the times I put the fill spell to like 2 or sometimes 1 going second, and you're not necessarily dark locked too much. So this card is just really good into just like activating this, beat over the field, make a little tiny push, and then you can like set some of your like traps or your follow up, and you can play on your opponent's turn a little bit. It's really good. Very, very good. And it's funny, it's a fiend, so kind of fits with the deck. And then for the links, I played 1 Cross Sheep, 1 Silhouette Rabbit, 1 Lina, and 1 SP Little Knight. Just kind of like some fun links you can play. Another cool link you can play is probably something like this to help you go into this, to just for going second purposes and stuff like that. So it's really, really cool. And another cool thing about Silhouette Rabbit that it's really, really very not spoke about is that this is also illusion, right? So it goes well with the quick play spell card, stuff like that. So yep, it's very, very good. That is it for the extra. Then going into the side deck, typically I don't show off the side deck, but I feel like it's apparent to show it off because it's like very different. So as you can tell, I'm not main decking the Charmies anymore. I'm actually side decking them. I actually been liking to side deck these cards because when I go first, I want to actually have live hand traps. The amount of times I draw and I just draw these cards and they just do absolutely nothing. I'd rather just have them for strictly for going second. And the fact that they lose to Ash Blossoms a lot of the times, it's not really like crazy. So I'd rather have actually real hand traps. And then when I do play like games 2 and 3, I want to have like actual multiple Charmy cards. So if one gets Ash, then I can just go into another one and it's not as terrible. And you can just obviously swap them out for the matchup. So like you play 3Ds and pretty much in every single matchup's going second. And this is for the Malice and this is for Ryziels. So yeah, and this goes in for a lot of other matchups, but that's just how it is. Triple Lancia is just insane, dude. We already know it's very, very good versus the Malice matchup. Then for more Ryziel matchup, I played a triple XYZ Encore. So this card is really, really good. It also just helps beat Dweller because Dweller is still an issue versus this deck. But versus the Ryziel matchup, even for going first, that's why I like this over Slayers. And it doesn't take up any of your extra deck slots and stuff like that because I don't want to side in extra deck monsters and stuff like that. But the really cool thing about XYZ Encore versus the Ryziel matchup, especially playing cards like Thrust and Talents, for example, there's been times where I'll hit this with Detonator and of course the monsters will come back out as like level 3s, and then sometimes the Sword or Ryziel will activate. Sword, or I'm sorry, Ice doesn't activate because it's only on summon or normal summon, and Node doesn't trigger because it's just Node. But if they do happen to like search, they play into these cards immediately, so that's something to note. And also, since you're bringing back monsters, since we're on pure, there's very high chances that you can actually just OTK them by summoning in something like this and then this. And a lot of their defenses, unless it's X, are like 200 or like 1,000 or something like that. So you can do a lot of damage with these cards right here for pushing for game and stuff like that. So just something to note. So yeah, very, very strong. And then the last two cards, because we're playing main deck Thrust, is the one Artifact Lancia, or sorry, one Sanctum for Artifact Lancia and one D-Barrier for Ryziel. And the cool thing about, which was really broken versus the Ryziel matchup that I played earlier today, is that we're playing more Spell and Traps. So this card gets a lot more value. So when I go first versus Ryziel, and I have this, and I have access to get into my Delabels, I can literally just loot this card over and over again, or I can loot the D-Barrier over and over again, which is really broken. So I actually literally just kept playing with my opponent where I just kept making this over and over again and just recycling the XYZ Encore, and they just, yeah, they couldn't keep up after that. So yeah, that is it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed the profile. Again, leave a like and subscribe to the channel because we'll be doing more of these in the future. And I guess with that being said, guys, have a great night. Peace.